Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, why is Taylor Swift directing a feature film getting such backlash? Same as always, sexism. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest, like, I only saw this story in the last 48 hours, I think. I don't know if that's when it's happened or I only just caught up, but...
From the time of recording, yeah.
Yeah, from the time of recording. I don't understand, like, is there an actual... Like, what's the...
I mean, there's a lot of, she's just trying to get an Oscar, and a lot of, why are they making a deal with her when she could just make it herself, and why is she getting this opportunity as a massive star or whatever? I don't know. It just seems like a lot of jealousy and, dude bros.
Sure.
But then there's a lot of jokes about what she could be directing. Minions.
I hope so.
Yeah. But
the Rise of Gru 2.
If you don't know, she's got to deal with Searchlight Pictures to write and direct a film, so. And obviously, I think the other thing that kind of pushed it over, she's in that Directors on Directors variety video series. Like with a bunch of other feature directors. Yeah. Oh. She's talking to Martin McDonagh, which seems like a weird combination, but, that's cool.
I don't know, like experience versus new, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film and TV news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and talk about this week's top 3. Starting things off, over on a very Explosion Network Christmas, we did a spoiler cast for Violent Night, the new David Harbour film in which he plays Santa Claus, and it's just straight up Die Hard, but with Santa Claus. That's all you need to know. It's a great time. You should go check it out. It's very violent, very funny. There's some heart in there as well, but David Harbour, shines. John Leguizamo plays the Hans Gruber-esque role, and, he's having a ball on screen. The little girl's very adorable. And they find some creative ways to, take out some of these bad dudes. So Dylan, what do you think of Violent Night?
Yeah, I mean, it's very good. It's if you're like me, like a good mix of, your classic sort of children's family age Christmas movies and some more, adult orientated stuff as well to mix things up throughout the holiday season. I reckon this one will be added to the rotation for a lot of people throughout the next couple of years. And I can see it getting a sequel. It's doing well enough at the box office, I think, to warrant a sequel. So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people making requests for different Mrs. Clauses. Yeah, so that's a good time. Go check it out in cinemas, and then of course go over to a very Explosion Network Christmas. Dylan, you've got a review up for another Christmas movie, Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Christmas Bloody Christmas. So this is a bit more of a violent Christmas movie. This one is on Shudder. I'm just getting it up so I can remember the actress's name because she's the main person on call it. But so it's from director Joe Begos, I'm not sure actually. Which I've seen, like, he's got a movie called Bliss and VFW, which are the main two I know. I've seen people in like horror crowds call out that I've never actually got around to watching. But apparently he wanted to remake Black Christmas, and then the studio didn't like, or his script, or something. Anyway, it fell through. So then he's like, oh, fuck it, I'll just do my own Christmas movie. And this is the result. I really liked it. I feel like it's not going to be for everyone solely not because of the horror part, but because it's actually... like in my review, I even like weirdly call out Kevin Smith, which you wouldn't expect for this, but like the first half an hour or so of the movie is just these two characters talking, and the dialogue reminded me of like Kevin Smith dialogue, but for like horror movies, and like heavy metal music. So you've got the main character Tori, and someone she works with, Robbie. They're like just locking up at the record store on Christmas Eve for the night. And then literally the first half hour of the movie is just them walking around talking about, like all these references to horror movies and Christmas horror movies and whatever else, and you really get to know these characters, which I really liked. However, if you're going into this just wanting to get straight into the killing and whatever else, that part may turn you off. However, once the killing does start, it is literally, hey, there's a Santa Claus. Apparently they like turn some army chip into like that they weren't using AI chip, and they put it in these Santas to make AI Santas, and they thought it was going to be a good toy, but they're recalling them all because they've been like malfunctioning, and then there's one malfunctions on Christmas Eve, and he just goes around killing people. Like, that's as far as the story goes. But yeah, I really liked it, and I think Riley Dandy, who plays Tori, is absolutely fantastic, and she's been in a lot more sort of rom-com stuff and all these other sort of bit parts and stuff, but I think she definitely makes a case for like horror being her future, because she's a really, really good final girl in this. Really, really good.
All right. So I was lucky enough to go to an advanced screening of The Fabelmans, Steven Spielberg's latest film. I think it's coming out 5th of January off the top of my head.
Yeah,
here in
I
Australia.
looked it up the other day. Yeah.
But of course it's already out elsewhere in the world because, you know, they hate Australians, you know. So it's kind of an autobiographical film of Steven Spielberg. You've got the character of Sam Fabelman, who's a young boy growing up initially in New Jersey. His family eventually moves to Arizona, and it kind of follows his life as he's coming of age. It's a classic coming of age story, but it's about a kid who comes to love making movies, and how that helps him deal with with his family. His mother played by Michelle Williams, and his father played by Paul Dano, who both brilliant performances. This is really, really enjoyable film. Like, it's really well made, lots of interesting shots. Just the if you enjoy movies about making movies, this will, you know, do something for you. There's like, because, you know, he makes a bunch of different short movies to earn merit badges for photography, because, you know, film is just like 24 photos per second, you know. So but then, yeah, you've also got his relationship with his parents, and, like, obviously anybody who knows Spielberg knows he comes from a family of divorce, and this kind of showcases how, you know, we assume he dealt with it. There's a lot of moments throughout this that I was like, me and I went with Buddy, we're both like, oh, I wonder if this is actually what actually happened or not. There is a female character that is absolutely wild in this movie, that, you know, I truly wonder if, you know, was somebody Steven Spielberg came across. But yeah, really enjoyable and heartwarming, and, you know, sad, and just a whole gamut of emotions. Yeah, Spielberg doing what Spielberg does. So, yeah, Fabelmans, when it comes out next year, definitely worth checking out in cinemas. Dylan, you did a double feature of a new franchise, I guess you would call it. So you watched The Terrifier, and then you watched Terrifier 2.
Yep. So this, I never heard of Terrifier until this year, and I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people. But
yep.
Terrifier 2 came out in cinemas. You see all these news reports, people throwing up, people running out of cinema, you know, all this sort of stuff that makes it sound, to anything other than a horror movie, it would be like a big thumbs down, but to horror movie, it's like good press. So like, it's like, you see like people run out of cinema, like, all right, what's this? I gotta check this out. Like, what's happening with this one? So I'd been waiting ages, because of course took forever to come out in Australia. It had been having a limited run, Terrifier 2, in theaters, but not where I am. And then Umbrella stuck them both out digitally the other day, or last week, whenever it was. So I was like, fuck yeah. I mean, as soon as that was happening, I'm like, I got to make time some point this week. I've been wanting to watch these all year. So I mean, it's pretty simple. I'll tell you what, like, so the plot of both movies is pretty simple. And the character is it was called Art the Clown. Like, that's the clown on the posters and everything, like the bad guy. It is a dude in a clown suit who just goes around killing people. And the first movie is very simple. It is like, start of the movie, you see him putting all these fucking like knives and whatever else in a bag, and he just heads out for the night, Halloween night or whatever, just starts killing motherfuckers. Like, eventually like traps all these people in a warehouse and just starts fucking murdering them. But the reason I think the character, especially when you come through to the second one, is liked by a lot of people, and I think that will have success, especially since the second movie had a budget of like $250,000 and made, I think, $11 million or some ridiculous amount. Is because the performance of the dude who's playing Art if I was looking it up, was he used to be like a mime or whatever. It really comes like it's a very playful character for a very fucked up character at the same time. Like this is a character who really enjoys hurting people, and that's why the kills are very brutal and everything. However, it's also a character who will like I don't even know how to say it. Like he does clown things, like smile, like wave, and it's a horror character with personality, which if you look at any really successful characters from horror franchises who do really, really well, it's usually the more colorful ones. Even if they are super fucked up, like of course I love Devil's Rejects and stuff, and they do absolutely fucked up things, but I still love them as characters because they're just so entertaining. I feel like this is entering the same thing. Anyway, long story short, I like both movies, and I'm definitely down for a third one. And I'm all aboard the Terrifier franchise bandwagon at this point, like a lot of people are. The second one has some really fucked up kills in it. Not to the point, like, this is the thing I've like, you see these lists happen where people are like, man, fucked up movies. There's a bunch of movies I won't watch because of specific things like Serbian film and all these other like really weird like things that they do that I'm like, I'm not okay with. Like, there's just certain things I draw the line at, but it's just brutal kills. Like, it's just nasty shit that he does, like cuts people's arms off and fucking like scalps them, and like it's. But at the same time, it's just so because he's a clown and the tone of the movie is also not super serious. I feel like it sort of helps with the brutalness to a degree, like psychologically. So, and the second movie introduces this really cool female like lead sort of heroine that's sort of built up to be the antithesis to Art, like his downfall. If it definitely leaves it open for a third one as well, but I really like both. I hope they do a third one. I assume they're doing a third one. There's no way you don't with that return that the second one did at cinema. So all aboard the hype train.
All right. So I've been watching Willow, of course, the new series on Disney Plus, starring Warwick Davis, set 30-something years after I guess. So I read an article. He's 52 now. He was 17 when he started. So what's that? 30-something years later. Which I get actually in the world of Willow, it's probably only like 18 years later. So the Queen's son has been abducted. So a band of a fellowship, so I would say, of young heroes must gather together to recover him. This includes the princess Kit, who was very much Arya Stark type of character. You've got her betrothed. She's set to be married to this other guy, played by Tony Rivoli, who's very much a scholar and not like a warrior in any sort of way. You've got Jade, who's a knight in training, and also secret love interest for Kit. And then you've also got Thraxis, who's a prisoner who was familiar with who knew Mad Mardigan, as well as a baker who fell in love with the prince who got stolen, who got kidnapped, and they're sent to Willow, who will help them go recover the young prince, because there's some sort of prophecy he had a vision many years ago, and there's the whole prophecy around Allura, and she was secreted away at some point, hidden away under a different name, given to another family to be raised and stuff. So they've also got to find Allura. Yeah.
Wait. So after the events of the movie,
yep,
they hide the baby away.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it so far. Obviously, the first episode is very much setting up a lot of the new characters, and Willow doesn't kind of pop up till the very end of the episode. But yeah, it's interesting. I've read an article, I think today, where Warwick Davis said he was very much influenced by Mark Hamill's performance in The Last Jedi, and there is definitely an element of that kind of arc going on here, where he is someone who is. It's not the Willow that we know from the first film. It's someone who's lived a full life and has had many experiences, many ups and downs. It's pretty evident, like when they visit his home in, the little people village. It's only his daughter who's there with him, So you can take from that what you will. If you obviously watched the first film. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. There's some fun action, there's some fun magic, there's some fun jokes and that kind of stuff. It's very got that fun high fantasy kind of vibe to it. So I'm enjoying it so far, especially enjoying it as someone who doesn't have a very much fondness for Willow. I'm finding it quite entertaining so far. It's 3 episodes in. I want to say there's like 8 episodes.
Oh.
So, 8 episodes. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. You should all check it out. It does it. Yeah. There's a song that one of the episodes ends on that's very amusing. So, and it's caused a little bit of a backlash because people are upset that it was used. Because, modern music and fantasy, people get upset about that stuff. But yeah, check out Willow. Dylan, you finally got around to checking out Orphan First Kill.
I did. The sequel prequel to Orphan. That I was looking forward to watching. I finally watched it. It came out in VOD, so I rented that as well this week in my horror. I love watching horror movies in Christmas month. It's the best, best time. It's horror's good for any month, to be fair. So I really like this. I feel like the movie spends the first 45 minutes or so sort of going, hey, you've seen this movie before, and it's okay, but you're like, yeah, you definitely can't pull off the same magic trick that you did with the first film. And they do something that I really wasn't expecting, and I think it made it really good. Obviously, I can't say for spoiler reasons, and I kind of don't even want to spoil the first movie, but you can't watch this without watching the first one because this movie spoils the original.
The big twist of the first one.
Yeah, this movie spoils the big twist from the outset, so I would suggest if you haven't watched any of them, watch Orphan, then watch Orphan First Kill. But this does manage to get a twist in it that I didn't see coming, and I felt it did make it really good as well. This isn't the sort of movie where you're like, there's no reason for this movie to exist. You didn't need a prequel to Orphan at all. Orphan was a good movie by itself. Sort of an underrated one, I think, but it manages to justify its existence by adding a little bit of lore to the character. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
So I've also been checking out the new season of Slow Horses. Of course, it's the new series starring Gary Oldman as the head of the Slow House, which is like the part of MI6 where people get sent to when they're shit at their jobs or like being punished or whatever. And this season starts off with a much former agent, like from the Cold War, a former agent being killed like on a bus, and Gary Oldman's character kind of looking into it and wondering if it's something more. And they bring up the idea of cicadas, who are secret Russian sleeper agents. So the team at Slow House are kind of looking into this, while also the part of the team has been requested to work on another surveillance project, that they're kind of bumbling their way through. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. Slow House is really solid espionage series in the vibe of like a Spooks or any of those other British kind of spy shows. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Gary Oldman is, as gruff and gives no shits as he wants. I think, I don't know if he requested it, but there's a lot of Gary Oldman eating on camera in this season, which, just from a continuity factor is like pretty impressive. It's like just eating constantly.
I like how that's something you've noticed. Is this so the first season came out this year, right? Or was it late?
It did. It came out.
Yeah.
April.
Fucking hell.
So yeah.
And they apparently filmed. I remember. Didn't I write that thing up? I can't remember. I remember writing the story, but I can't remember. Didn't they film season 2 and 3 back to back? Wasn't that the thing?
I think they filmed 1 and 2 back.
And 2 back to back, and then maybe they were doing 3 and 4. I don't know. Either way, you're gonna have slow.
Yeah, 3 and 4 have already been confirmed. So
yeah, Slow Horses content for coming up fast.
It's coming up fast. I mean, Gary Oldman's kind of said that, he might retire soon, so got to pump him out while he still wants to work.
He loves his book, apparently.
Loves this series,
His
yeah.
books, loves the series. Yeah.
So I'm finding it really enjoyable. All right. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you started watching Wednesday.
So I'm 6 out of 8 Wednesdays deep. That's the sentence. It's really good. Obviously, it is literally either however you want to describe it. I've seen versions of it's Harry Potter crossed with Tim Burton. Like, I don't know, it's a darker that. I've seen people be like, oh, it's Riverdale, but just the fancy stuff. Like, however you want to do it. Like, it's very much. It is Wednesday Addams, start of the season, get sent to a different school. This school is where a bunch of like supernatural beings or whatever you want to call it. Like, there's vampires here, there's werewolves, also like it's a weird school, right? She fits in perfectly there. She discovers that there's a beast going around. At first, she wants to leave for the first episode. She's like, I'm going to escape from this place when the rest of the Addams family drops her off. And then by the end of the first episode, I think is when it's like this beast going around killing people. So then she sort of takes it upon herself. She has big intrigue into this to try and discover who this person is, who this beast is that's killing everyone. So that's sort of the plot of the season. While she's, of course, dealing with normal, the bitchy girls
teen
in
stuff.
Class and all this teen stuff that she's going through, romance potentially and whatever else. General Ortega is fantastic. I mean, that's sort of a generic statement. She's good in everything she's in, I think. But she's really, really good as Wednesday Addams. She just perfect sort of just deadpan delivery of so many of the lines and everything else. But the rest of the cast is fantastic as well. It's funny because when she moves into her roommate, when she gets taken to a dorm or whatever, like her roommate's this like complete opposite, rainbows, unicorns, all this sort of stuff. Yep. She has like this giant mural on the wall that's like all the colors of the rainbow, and then like halfway through the episode, I think this girl comes back to her room and discovers that Wednesday's like stripped it in half, so half her side of the room's now black, another half it's just like still the rainbow colored stuff. So there's like lots of little funny things. Whenever the Addams family's in it, so far it's like episode 1 and 4 or 5, I think, is like when they show up. They're really, really fantastic as well. Catherine Zeta-Jones gets the most time sort of on screen as you get to see these mother-daughter conversations. I'm sure everyone's seen the dance clip from fucking episode 4 as well. Yep. That's everywhere. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Keen to finish off those last couple of episodes. And I'm sure we'll be getting more because it is doing gangbusters for Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's the highest new series or just series in general so far this year. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah,
I think it shot past Stranger Things.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're going to want a bunch more of that. I only checked out the first episode, but I liked what it was. It doesn't exactly scream Tim Burton, I would say. It was the only thing. Yeah, well, I mean, Tim Burtonness has kind of plateaued over the last decade or two. He doesn't have the style that he did in some of his earlier work. But yeah, it is enjoyable. Jenna Ortega is very, very good with a very deadpan delivery, and just taking things way too literally, I think, is the thing. It does open with, her almost murdering a guy with piranhas, which everybody saw in the trailer, but I'd be interested to check out what everybody else is going on about. So, Wednesday. So we've both also watched Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. So this is his stop motion animated film directed by him. It's his kind of retelling of the story of Pinocchio. Of course, Geppetto makes a puppet, and the blue fairy comes along and puts life into it. Definitely more, obviously much darker than the Disney version. This is like probably the most Guillermo del Toro film you could possibly imagine. It's like this perfect like amalgamation of like something like I keep imagining Kubo and the Two Strings, but it's probably because that had a lot of bugs and stuff in it. and lots of like wood and stuff. Just a really interesting story about it's interesting that it's so set in like the real world. Like it's set clearly in 1930s, I want to say, Italy, because Mussolini appears as a character in the film briefly, and they're talking about war and all this kind of stuff. But then it's got all these fantastical elements to it as well. The animation across the board is just beautiful. I don't think there's a single frame that looks terrible in this. I'm so glad that this was made and was something that we can watch. But yeah, Dylan, what do you think?
But first, I was just going to say, just because I feel like we've run into a Jordan Peele's Candyman scenario of this. Guillermo's Pinocchio, co-directed by Mark Gustafsson.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Because like he's a animator dude, but like, so I assume it was like he was helping a lot.
Much in the way that it's Henry Selick directed.
Tim Burton's, yeah. But I mean, to be fair, Tim Burton didn't direct that at all. Whereas this is Guillermo. There was a co-directed affair. Yeah. It's just I assume it's a co-directing affair because Guillermo hasn't worked with stop motion before, so he's co-directing with someone who can help him through.
Interesting. They've also got like the behind the scenes video out as well.
Yeah,
apparently
I watched
it's
some
like
of it.
3 different teams working on the film, which is pretty crazy. Yeah.
It's just quite funny to see he has these massive Pinocchios too, and then these little like such tiny ones. Such interesting like filmmaking technique. No, I really enjoyed it. I feel like it's the thing is I wouldn't call the film dark. It's just not. It's not Disney, and that's the whole point. Like Disney it takes away the worries and
probably
it takes away all the real lifeness of something. It takes away the life, death, and all these sorts of things. Whereas this is just more mature. It's not like unnecessarily dark, or it's not trying to be like a gothic version of Pinocchio or anything crazy like that. It's simply a Pinocchio film that deals heavily with the love and loss of the story a lot more maturely than you will see Disney do in such a film. Like I feel like the movie nailed the reason this movie's so good is I think for those last couple minutes. I feel like that in the last couple minutes it really sort of sells the nails in the coffin for the themes that this movie's sort of trying to play with about just life and loss and these other sorts of things that the movie mostly plays around with. So sad ending, but it worked.
Sad opening as well.
Sad opening as well, yeah.
Like it's up there with like the other, Pixar level sadness.
But yeah, obviously beautifully animated, and I love stop motion as a technique. It just brings something like you just can't fake it. Like there's something magical about it when it's done like this.
Even like the stop motion of them putting the stop motion into place looks super impressive. Like, really good. Really interesting voice cast. Like it's Ewan McGregor as Sebastian J. Cricket, I want to say, off the top of my head.
Jiminy Cricket, for those playing at home. I guess
it's the cricket. But you got David Bradley as Geppetto.
Yeah. Works so well, I thought. I really, really liked him as Geppetto.
And do you know who's Spatula is voiced by?
I don't even know who that character
The monkey?
is. No.
It's Kate Blanchett.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw her in the cast. I assume she was like one of the Blue Fairy things or whatever.
No, the Blue Fairy is Tilda Swinton. She plays both of them.
Both? Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Right.
Tilda Swinton, once again, playing multiple roles and stuff. Can't do just one thing,
That's a very funny recurring joke, by the way. I don't want to spoil it for watching, but like Pinocchio, in the place where there's the second one of that character, that's very funny. I think.
That might be one of the most interesting elements of the story that's been added. Yeah. Because it's him becoming a real boy is something that's not just given to him. It's something that he chooses. Yeah. Over another option.
Yeah.
So I think pretty fantastic. Check out Pinocchio on Netflix.
Wish I could have watched it in the cinema though. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
At least I got Knives Out.
To see in a cinema.
Yeah, that's what I mean. At least I got to watch Knives Out in the cinema.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Out of the Netflix movie, out this one.
gotta take what you can get. All right. Let's everything that's in our watch history. Let's move into some film news. And man, the internet, Twitter has just blown up around James Gunn, Peter Safran, and their plans for the DCEU or DC universe. So over on the Hollywood Reporter, December 7th, the story broke. Call it DC Rebirth or DC Genesis, maybe it's Identity Crisis or Flashpoint. These titles of past DC Comics events aptly describe the state of Warner Brothers DC movies, which are on the cusp of a new era, but not before a potentially messy transition period. Cleaning the slate is common when a new executive team is put in place to run a studio or division, but there is likely little precedence for the amount of Clorox James Gunn and Peter Safran could spray on there as they prepare to launch DC Studios and the guide superhero movies for the next decade and a half. The duo recent days flew back to LA from snowy Aspen. Multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward and is considered dead in its current iteration. Sources say Jenkins recently submitted her treatment, co-written with Jeff Johns, and that Gunn and Safran, as well as Warner Brothers Pictures co-chairs and co-CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, broke the news to the filmmaker, telling her the project, as it stood, did not fit with the new plans. Jenkins co-wrote and directed the previous two movies starring Gal Gadot, releasing in 2017 and 2020. No decision has been made. There are also a report there's no plans for a future Aquaman film after the current one. There's currently no plans for a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill. Yeah, it seems like they're about to blow up everything. Of course, James Gunn came in the days later saying that some of this is true, some of this is not true, and a lot of this is stuff that they haven't even decided on yet. But it seems like the Wonder Woman 3 rumor is the strongest one. It's definitely something that has been shut down. But Dylan, what do you think of everything, all this DC stuff?
I think it's totally fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I feel like people want their, I don't know, what's the saying? Cake and eat it too, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's, people want DC to be fixed. They were happy that James Gunn's coming in, but now as he is clearing the slate, making way for, you know, like a ground zero reset so he can actually get the DCU started, which is what everyone wants. Everyone complains that there's no connectivity between the DC films, and that's what people want. They want their Marvel DC equivalent. The second he starts clearing path and making way so they can do that, everyone starts complaining. I want Man of Steel 2. I like Man of Steel. I don't really care about Wonder Woman. I mean, the first one was good, the second one was trash. But, like, I don't... In what world where you want a DC universe, connected universe with one cohesive vision, do you really think that all these films can just magically continue working? Like, Patty Jenkins, obviously, she's writing the movie that she wrote and then turns it in, and then James Gunn's got this, they're planning out their vision for the DCU, and it's like, well, your film doesn't fit the vision. Like, I know that sucks, but, like, yeah, I don't understand why everyone's complaining. I don't get it. Everyone's like, we want this, but we don't want this. We want this, but we want it to work in our very strict conditions where everything stays the same, but magically gets better at the same time and nothing, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just dumb.
I can understand where some fans, like, it's anytime anything gets cancelled, it's like, why can't they just let it finish? Why couldn't they let them tell their final story or whatever? It's like,
this is not the same as
it's a pretty
Batgirl,
expensive.
It's a fucking script.
Story.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, Batgirl's completely different. Like, I see people bring this up, like, oh, Batgirl, Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman's a script. Version 1 script. They haven't even started pre-production. It's a fucking script. Like, it's not Batgirl movie finished halfway through post. Like, it's not.
Yeah. No, but I'm like talking about more like TV shows and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Anything Netflix cancels, any of the 27 shows they canceled this week. Yeah, I mean, it's weird that they're just going to go whole hog and throw everything out, especially with Henry Cavill. Like, you know, obviously walking away from The Witcher, we all assumed it was to make a Superman movie. But that may or may not be on the cards again. I saw James Gunn responding to somebody else, like saying that he doesn't like Henry Cavill, which he disputed. It's very interesting seeing someone at the head of a studio be very active on social media.
I like it. I love how James Gunn, he doesn't say anything he can't say, but he'll just shoot down shit that's bullshit. Like if someone writes a story, and he's always done this.
Like anything around Guardians, any story
anything like that. Someone writes a bullshit story that's like Guardians Galaxy will be about this, blah 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 blah. He'll just quote reply and be like, "This story's bullshit." Like he doesn't need to say it's bullshit because here's what's happened. He just goes, "It's bullshit." Like,
not true. Yeah,
not true. Fake story. Fake news.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only things that are safe at the moment are Matt Reeves' Batman and obviously the Todd Phillips Joker movie. But everything else seems to be fair game to be scrapped outside of, I guess, they're going to release The Flash and they're probably obviously Aquaman's going to come out. So it sounds like even Black Adam isn't a sure thing to get a sequel.
No, that's
with rumors about how well that's performed financially. Yeah.
It's catalyst of change in the DC universe.
Yeah, the catalyst of end. Change by ending it all. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels sad. Like, you always want like people to have, their nice final performance. So to imagine Gal Gadot not getting one more go around at Wonder Woman feels weird.
Bring it back to Fast and Furious.
Sure.
She landed on a trampoline. Why was it there?
It's really weird. She had amnesia this entire time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What are the odds of two people in the same group both get amnesia?
Nobody was standing in the corner, ready with the inflatable safety thing he threw out at the very last second.
She just landed on a bed of pillows. It was really weird.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody noticed while they went all the way down the other end of the runway.
That's right.
All right. I mean, there's a bunch of other stories. Like, apparently, there's rumors that Jason Momoa is being eyed to play Lobo, which, from a physique perspective, makes a lot of sense because you just need to put like one of those white filters over the top of his, he's good to go.
I love him as Lobo.
Then the other one that's made fans angry is apparently Christina Hodson, the writer of The Flash and Birds of Prey, was working on a Batman Beyond film as a spin-off from The Flash, which would have starred Michael Keaton and potentially brought back Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. But, it's all hypothetical theories.
Fans are angry because some website said a thing may be a thing, and a thing may not have even been a thing. It may have just been an idea that's kicking around, but it was never greenlit. But fans are angry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Mike Flanagan is obviously signed a new deal with with Prime Video and Amazon, I guess.
Did you say Optus?
What?
But did you go to say Optus?
I don't know.
I was like, Mike Flanagan's signed a deal with Optus.
He's just going to give everybody's data away.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, of course, Mike Flanagan has been working on a bunch of different Stephen King projects. The Haunting
of Blind Manor.
Haunting of Blind Manor.
Actually, no, that wasn't Stephen King one. You mean like his actual Stephen King stuff? Was Doctor Sleep and Gerald's Game.
Yeah. Now he's set to tackle the most ambitious project to date, a screen adaptation of Stephen King's The Dark Tower, where creator Flanagan envisions as a TV series to run for 5 seasons, followed by 2 standalone features. In an interview with Deadline, Flanagan and his partner Trevor Macy, known for their extensive film and TV work in the horror genre, break the news that they've acquired the rights to the Mammoth book series, which draws from multiple genres, including dark fantasy, science fantasy, horror, and western. Flanagan reveals that he's written a pilot script and season outlines for The Dark Tower, which he has described for years as his dream project. He's even shared in interviews his vision for the opening shot, a black screen with the words, "The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed," leading towards the landscape with a silhouette in the distance. Attempts by multiple studios to bring The Dark Tower to the screen as a film TV adaptation of the past decade and a half have resulted in the 2017 Sony MRC Imagine movie starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, followed by a Amazon MRC pilot written by Glenn Mazzara, which didn't go forward. Flanagan and Macy, who carved the rights to the Dark Tower out of their Netflix and Amazon Studios overall deals, are taking on the famous property, having previously done 2 feature adaptation of King's works. Dylan, what do you think of Mike Flanagan tackling the Dark Tower?
Absolutely love it. This is some of the best news that's coming up in the last couple of weeks. Absolutely. Obviously, Mike Flanagan is gold in just about everything he touches, and I'm at the point where with him where I'm just excited for anything he does. But Mike Flanagan doing the Dark Tower, I feel like is a perfect fit. I assume that Nicholas Pryor should be happy with this news. I haven't actually asked him, but so
I'd assume so. You know,
I'd assume he's a Mike Flanagan.
He liked Dr. Sleep, right?
Yeah, he liked Dr. Sleep. He likes all the Flanagan stuff. So, really cool. The only thing that's annoying about this is like when they signed the Prime deal, I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then Netflix is like, yeah, we're gonna cancel your show. I was like, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I'm like,
technically, it wasn't his show, right? He was just directing and.
No, he was the showrunner or whatever, the
Okay.
executive producer. So.
Yeah.
But
So,
he did tweet out the entire rest of the plot for that show. So.
Yeah, he was like, here's season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
So you can get some sort of closure.
Yeah. Well, I read all that. It was a massive like Tumblr post. For the Midnight Club, by the way. Anyway,
yeah, the Midnight Club, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that entire post and it's cool. Just to see someone just be like, here's what was going to do, show it won't happen now, so was going to do this, and then there would have been an episode where we did this, and we would have introduced these characters in season 3, blah, 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 and it would have ended with this, and the twist for the whole show was this, blah, 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 blah. So, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, as someone who's got no attachment to the Dark Tower, other than, you know, I bought the books at some point, never read them.
That's me. Also
never.
me.
You also.
I read the first one. No, I've read the first one. Sorry.
I read like the first couple of chapters.
I've read one Dark Tower.
Yeah. This is cool. Finally, we can get a proper adaptation because the Idris Elba film is set 3 or 4 books in, right?
Something weird like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Mike Flanagan film series will probably
From
start from the beginning. You would assume. Yeah. So I'm sure this will make fans happy because obviously that Idris Elba film did not do anything for fans at all. So
yeah, and any Stephen King fans have faith in Flanagan. I feel so. He's proven himself.
I mean, he's probably been the most successful at adapting Stephen King works recently, and there's been a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting. Over on Prime Video sometime in the future. Dylan, do you know they're just about to announce the nominees for this year's 80th Golden Globe Awards?
No, I did not.
No, so they are making a push to relevance again. They announced the host for the 80th Annual Golden Globe Awards, Jared Carmichael, of course, who earlier this year won an Emmy for his comedy special, Nathaniel. Also earned an Emmy nomination for hosting Saturday Night Live. Interesting choice. I mean, it's a little on the nose to have a association that's had trouble with diversity hire a black gay man to front the award ceremony. But yeah, obviously NBC signed a new deal with the Hollywood Foreign Press to air the Golden Globes this year. Of course, it's still going to be a reasonably big deal. They claim that there's been a lot of excitement for their awards, of course, but there is still a lot of bad blood around how the Hollywood Foreign Press has been in the past, whether it's them accepting gifts for votes and the lack of diversity for several years. Of course, Brendan Fraser kind of making the news because he was allegedly he was groped by a former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press, and it said he's not going to the ceremony. So, Dylan, will people care about the Golden Globes, or will they just be like, oh, that's interesting, who won?
No.
I think people will care because, I think they'll end up getting a lot of celebrities going because it's just going to end up being another one of these big. is going to be one of those big shows that they need to kind of show up to push their claims for the award season. And if celebrities end up going, then it's going to add a certain amount of okayness, I guess, or like they'll be like, oh, I guess this is still a thing. I don't think people are going to watch. I think it's much like any of the award ceremonies that are going on at the moment. Everybody's going to just go, some whatever news site you follow will be tweeting the results on Twitter. You'll look at it and you go, oh yeah, that person should have won. You know, so Golden Globes, they're still a thing. You know, it's hard to end something that's like 80 years old, I guess. You know,
just ended it at 80. Let them have this last hurrah. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be interested to see how Jerry Carmichael kind of tackles it. So, because he seems like someone who won't be held back to a certain degree. So yeah. That's all the film news for this week. Let's give some thumbs to some trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're going to talk about in the show notes below. First trailer for this week is Paul T. Goldman, created by Jason Walliner, starring Paul T. Goldman. Paul T. Goldman is a mind-bending series from the director of Borat's subsequent movie film and the producers of The Disaster Artist. It's a project that director Jason Walliner has been shooting for over a decade, and a story that continues to pile on jaw-dropping new twists in the style of Walliner's work on Borat's subsequent movie film. The series is a groundbreaking project that mixes fact and fiction to tell a bizarre and incredible tale. Phil, what do you think of the trailer for Paul T. Goldman?
I have no idea what the go is with this. I was so tempted to Google, but I can't. Again, I'm doing that thing where I'm trying to restrain myself just so I can experience it live in this. But yeah, this is a very weird and wild trailer. I'm giving it double thumbs up. I have no idea what I'm in for. This doesn't look like anything else. So that's the whole thing. Like, just the fact you're watching the whole trailer, like, okay, what's this? And then they're like, it's a guy playing himself, telling his own story, and it cuts up people. I don't know. Double thumbs up. I have no idea what it is though. I don't know how I'd explain what I watched.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because it's definitely it's clearly someone who was in the process of getting swindled, with like someone with multiple identities and like trying to like steal from him, I guess. But then he's gone on to write a book and is now wanting to wrote a script about his experience in which he wants to star in, and that is what this series is. So you got him recreating events that happened to him, and apparently you've also got people who were there in the actual events watching the other actors act out the events of the things that happened. And then you've got Dennis Haber in this, and you know Paul's just getting a selfie with him, you know, between takes. It's really weird. But yeah, I'd give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's a weird wackiness that I'm on board for. So this is coming to Peacock on the 1st of January. But there's no current Australian release date. But generally, these Peacock series do end up on Stan, so we'll see. Next trailer, When You Finish Saving the World, directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Julianne Moore and Finn Wolfhard. A mother and a teenage son can't seem to connect, yet they try to find that bond in other people. She latches onto a young boy she meets at her women's shelter, while her son falls in love with an extremely political student at his school. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for When You Finish Saving the World?
It looks fantastic. It looks really, really good. I like the central piece of the movie of like these two people sort of falling apart and replacing them with other people. Very evident in the trailer. Looks like two potentially best of, or like really good performances. Julianne Moore and Finn Wolfhard, however you say his name.
Yep.
Hopefully I can watch it before 2023 comes to a close. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, this looks really good. Obviously an A24 film, so, you know, we're going to be a little bit biased because, you know, they tend to have a pretty good track record, but yeah, just to connect, just everybody in this looks like they're doing really good work. Just an interesting, you know, story, and obviously there's this element of Finn Wolfhard's characters like streaming himself playing music and that kind of stuff, and not wanting to play for his mother, and it's going to be a nice mother-son movie about them learning about each other and stuff. So yeah, I'm very keen. This is 2 thumbs up from me. No Australian release date, but it is releasing in America on January 20th. Next trailer, Champions, directed by Bobby Farrelly, starring Woody Harrelson, Caitlin Olsen, Cheech Marin, Matt Cook, and Ernie Hudson. A former minor league basketball coach receives a court order to guide a team of players with intellectual disabilities. Despite his doubts, he soon realizes that together they can go further than he ever imagined. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Champions?
This looks like so many movies we've watched before, but I'm going to say double thumbs up. I'm just a sucker for certain sort of storylines, I guess, sometimes. And I've watched so many basketball movies where a coach or sports movies move to it. But you know what? Fuck it. Woody Harrelson looks fun. There's that whole joke there at one part where that girl gets dropped off and like walks across the road. And it's like, who's this guy? Whatever. Which I don't know, made me laugh for some reason. Yeah, I think it looks like a good sort of wholesome time. You know where it's going to go, but you'll enjoy the ride.
This is one up, one down for me. I don't know. It
You
looks
love
alright.
sports.
I like sports, but like you said, this is a thing that we've seen multiple times before. It seems like it's going to be a much more family-friendly version of what was that Johnny Knoxville movie? That also
No, but that was this. No.
This seems like it's not going to be as bad.
This doesn't seem like it's at all making fun of anyone in the movie, whereas that one potentially was.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of trust, so yeah. I mean, Woody Harrelson looks like he's having a good time. And all the intellectually disabled actors look like they're doing a great job. Providing lots of laughs, but yeah, I'm just keep my expectations in check. So yeah. So this is coming to cinemas 23rd of March. So yeah, you can confirm you can actually watch this one. Next up, we've got Treason, created by Matt Charman, starring Charlie Cox, Una Chaplin, Olga Korolenko, Kieran Hines, and Tracy Ifichor. Adam Lawrence was trained and groomed by MI6. His career seems set. When the past catches up with him in the form of Kara, a Russian spy with whom he shares a complicated past, he is forced to question everything and everyone in his life. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Treason?
I really liked it. I'm going one up, one down though, because I understand maybe the whole point is like the reveal of him like paying that woman or whatever the go is to get him into power is like revealed maybe in the first episode. And that's why it's in the trailer. But I almost feel like I was annoyed that it showed me that, That was my only problem. So I was watching a trailer, I'm like, oh, maybe he's in on it. And then the trailer's like, he's in on it. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay,
But is
so I'm
he
gonna go.
actively in on it? Or?
Well, I mean, he's definitely, like, from what I took from trailer, he was actively in on it. Like, and it's sort of going to shit for him. So, I'm going one up, one down.
This is 2 thumbs up from me. I thought it was really great trailer. I don't think he's necessarily in on it. He could be like being manipulated, like because he's kind of been put in this high position, and then potentially being blackmailed. Charlie Cox looks like he's really great in this, and yeah. The other thing, it's slated as a limited series, so at least we're going to get the entire story in this. No fear of multiple seasons being cancelled. So yeah, this is 2 thumbs up. I think it looks really good. So this is coming to Netflix on 26th of December. So something to look forward to on Boxing Day. Last trailer for this week. Cocaine Bear. Directed by Elizabeth Banks. Starring Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Christian Covery Jennings, Alden Ehrenreich, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Brooklyn Prince, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., Christopher Hivchub, Hannah Hoekstra, Aaron Holiday, Margot Martindale, and Ray Liotta. After ingesting a duffel bag full of cocaine, an American black bear goes on a murderous rampage in a small Georgia town where a group of locals and tourists must join forces in order to survive the attack. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for Cocaine Bear?
2 thumbs up. I watched it twice. Can't wait. I'm keen as. This is like absolute dumb fun. I love how Ray Liotta's last movie is this. Yeah, it looks. I don't know. You either aboard this. Like, if you're gonna watch a trailer and go, "Well, this is stupid. This ain't movie ain't for you." I watched this trailer. I went, "That bear's like fucking high as fuck, trying to kill people." Can't wait. You know, like so. I'm all aboard. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, this is clearly 2 thumbs up for me as well. A fantastic trailer, with lots of fun gags, but hopefully not giving too much away.
That part where it's like, bears can't climb trees.
Oh man, yeah, just the bear climbing up one tree and
climbing
then
the tree like super fast.
The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lots of silly moments. Even just the bear just zoning out on the lawn, just rubbing its back all over the place. Just that bear looks incredible. Like, obviously, it's got to be very heavily CGI'd, but I don't think you could tell at any point. Even you've got the ending shot of the trailer.
It's like jumping into the ambulance
jumping
or whatever.
into this ambulance,
running up the road like 60 kilometers an hour or whatever.
Just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I'm very, very keen for this.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Banks.
Fucking Elizabeth Banks directing this.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the logical step from Charlie's Angels to this. Lots of interesting cast members. So yeah, this is coming to cinemas on the 23rd of February. So look forward to that. Also check out the Cocaine Bear social media, because it's told from the perspective of the Cocaine Bear. So yeah, good times. All right, let's wrap up this episode of What Do You Want to Watch with our What Do You Want to Watch top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And I thought we'd round out the year with looking forward to 2023 with a top 3 of our hopes for 2023. So this could be anything. Very wide open interpretation.
Yeah, I believe you actually just wrote, when I looked this morning, top 2023 wants, and I read it and went,
no, it literally says top 3 hopes for 2023.
Top 3 hopes for 2023. I was like, what's that mean?
Guess we'll find out. Dylan, what's your number 3?
Number 3, DC gets their shit together. So I guess relating to a conversation earlier this week, I hope everything that's happening with James Gunn and the other dude whose name I don't remember, taking over at DC to get the DCU going, all pans out well. And DC films, as a DC fan who loves his DC comic characters more than Marvel characters, that I can get a good series of DC films happening. Maybe, of course, I don't expect them to start pumping out next year. That's not how it starts. But I'm hoping that we get an idea of like the overall picture, at a Comic-Con or something like that, and we go, cool, that's the vision. I like the vision board, James Gunn. So DC gets their shit together. Number 3.
All right. My number 3. No more film delays. Mostly looking at you across the Spider-Verse. If you get delayed again, I'm going to be furious.
Do you want to pick something realistic or?
I think, we're past the point where COVID has kind of caused movies to be super delayed, or hopefully we get to the point where it's rare that a movie suddenly gets pulled from the schedule, is all I'm saying. Especially movies that are set to come out in 2023, which there's a lot of. So yeah, there's my number 3. Dylan, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is I forgot to look at my list, but number 2 is A24 films released in Australia on time.
My number 2 is the release schedule between US release and Australian release gets smaller.
There you go. Very similar dreams between us.
Yeah.
Number 2 there, so.
We're just small people with small dreams.
Small dreams. Yeah, see, I narrowed it down straight to a studio because I was trying, I'm not asking for too much. I just want this one particular studio's films to release, even a week, couple weeks, fucking even 2 weeks would be fucking such an improvement at this stage. But yeah, A24 Films releasing in Australia in a more due diligent time. If you can't work out how to do that, just partner up with someone here in Australia and get someone else to distribute or co-distribute, however it would be worded on the film logos or whatever, to co-distribute A20 films for you, 24 films for you in Australia. Like, I don't understand what the hold up is. Just team up with someone. Fuck. Shit.
All right, what's your number one?
Number one. Oh, fuck, what was notepad here? Oh, number one hope for 2023 is Fast X is good. I really hope that Fast and Furious or Fast X or whatever it ends up actually being called is a good film, and I enjoy it.
Okay, that's a good choice. When is Fast?
I don't know, next year at some point.
May 19th.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might break my number 3 hope, I think. From what all reports of budgets and that kind of stuff. My number one, people go back to the cinema. Okay. Of course, all the reports right now are that, we've got all these lows attendance at the cinema. Of course, Avatar's about to come out this week, so maybe that will shift things around. But 2023 is stacked full of movies that will hopefully get people to go see them. Especially, in the middle of the year. Lots of big budget, big tentpole movies. So yeah, hopefully they're good. And then hopefully people go see them in the cinema and not just wait till they come to VOD or streaming. So yeah, that's my number one hope. That, we're back to making money at the cinema. All right, that brings us to the end of this episode of What Do You Want to Watch? If you want to help us out here at the podcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Tell people about the show. Leave us 5 stars. Anywhere we can leave 5 stars. Of course, you can follow us by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. And if you want to help us out financially, you can go over to explosion.com/support. You can donate as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page. So this is the last episode of What Do You Want to Watch till quickly looking
Till next week.
24th of January is the next episode of What Do You Want to Watch. But we will be having different spoiler casts and top 10 lists and other things every Tuesday, much to Dylan's disgust. We will be having What Do You Want to Watch content every single week. So thank you for listening in 2022. Look forward to talking to you in 2023, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
Goodbye.